Hi, welcome back to this week's Personal Selling Weekly. Today we will discuss how to use KPIs or KPIs and what is the difference between these two ideas. I think very often when I discuss with sales leaders, I think most understand that what you're measuring, you get. And again, so if you measure nothing, it will be really random what you will see in your organization. But I have had customers that are really using KPIs in what I would call effective and productive way. But I have also seen organizations actually having KPIs that in a way sabotage them getting what they actually want. And I remember a project we did for a customer now 15 years back. And I think they really liked the whole personal selling program and the satisfaction selling method. And it was only halfway into this project, we had a deeper discussion with the leadership of that company, and we realized that the KPIs they were using was not really supporting the behavior we were introducing in the program they had bought from us. Because one of the things they were measuring was number of customer meetings their people had every week. And hear me right, I'm not against having customer meetings. I actually think it's a very powerful thing to have. But again, a lot of customer meetings every week, is that always the right thing to do? I don't think so. And one of the managers in this company shared a story with me. He was heading a part of the Norwegian sales force. And he said, a few months ago, I had this experience. And it was, one of our biggest customers had reached out to us and asked for some help, but she didn't get any feedback. And she did that on a Tuesday that week. On Thursday, I got hold of the salesperson and asked him, well, how come that you haven't come back to her? She's now approaching me to get some feedback. And he said, but we're having this competition of winning the trip to Bermuda, and we need to be the part of the company that had the most sales calls. So I have been out this week having a lot of sales calls. And then I asked him, but who have you met today? I was having a call with the hairdresser down the corner, and also the person who had this small food outlet at the town hall. And then but do you believe that they will ever be customers of ours? No. But the meeting counts. So again, if you have a KPI, which is about having 5 or 10 customer meetings a week, you will get 5 to 10 customer meetings a week. But what about the quality of the meetings? Maybe there's some of you people who shouldn't meet any customer this week because they should be focusing on creating a big proposal to a customer that can really change the whole game you're playing. So again, sometimes I have seen that KPIs are actually more sabotaging your business than actually helping your business. So again here, I think if you really want some KPIs that works well, then go for customer satisfaction index or the NPS. Because I think, again, if you can see a positive trend in how customer satisfaction develop, then you have a very good indicator of how the health of your business are developing. And again, if it's all about creating happy customers, your salespeople start to think about, okay, what is it that I can actually do that creates value for the customer? And I think then you will win the long game. But in this episode, we would like to take it a step further and start to basically discuss how can you set up some KBIs as a key behavioral indicators that will lead to success. Because again, whether you like it or not, is the sum of the behavior in your organization that lead to the results you get. So if you're not having the right behavior when your salespeople interact with the customers, you will not get the results you want. So I don't believe that it's important to have 10 meetings a week if the behavior in those meetings are not optimal. So it has to be a combination here. And I think, again, then you could say, okay, but what KPIs should we be measuring? I think here, again, you need to take a step back and ask yourself, what experiences do we want to create for our customers when we meet with them? What would you like them to say about the meetings? Because you need that information to, in a way, reverse engineer the behavior your people need to have in those meetings. So if your customers say, wow, we really want to have a salesperson that understand what we want and need, then maybe good behavior would be listening skills and questioning skills. Because unless you believe that your salespeople are clairvoyant, they need to be able to hear what the customer is actually saying and telling them. And they need to be able to ask high-quality follow-up questions to really get from surface information to the deep knowledge they need to actually help the customer in a qualified way. So that could be 2 KPIs you are looking for. And then you say, but is this good enough? Maybe you need to even go a step further and say, okay, but what is a high-quality question? Because I have seen salespeople asking open questions that was not leading to the outcome they actually wanted. And in the satisfaction cycle method, we have described some of the micro strategies when it comes to behavior that we have seen create results over time again and again. So if you want, again, more detailed inspiration, I think you need to dive in and understand a little more about some of the micro strategies there. So again, the final question here could be, so if you really want to implement KPIs in your organization, how can you go about it? And again here, I think a way to start would be to basically invite your sales team to sit down and brainstorm and have them discuss with you what behavior would they believe would actually lead to the results you want. And then, if I were you, I would set aside time to actually go out, be on the road with your salespeople, observing them in the meeting so that you can give them real-time feedback on their behavior. Because again, you will not find those behaviors in your system. You need to go out and actually observe what's happening. And when you do that, you will get more of the behavior that creates results, which will lead to the performance you actually want and need for your organization. If you don't know what behavior you want, you cannot promote it. That's the point. Hope this episode have inspired you to at least think a little differently about KPIs and maybe some inspiration of how to introduce KBIs so that you can help your salespeople become more productive, so that you end up having customers coming back for more because they actually interact with people that behave in a way that create the situations and the meetings and the whole environment they really want to see in a partner. So have a great week until we meet again.